What's up, everybody? This is yours truly, your nutritionist, a guy who shares because, yes, he cares. And today is no different. Today I am going to be joined by someone I met over 20 years ago, who's also my client, but trust me, that means nothing when it comes to us having a conversation because she speaks her own mind. She is who she is. She's got a very impressive background when it comes to like spiritual psychology, which she's a graduate of a university that I'm a big fan of. And I would say she's a lifelong student when it comes to spirituality. And so today we are going to begin part 1 of 3. I'm thinking 3 conversations. We will keep it to an hour about the relationship between spirituality, better health, weight loss. I mean, it should be interesting because we're both going to be candid. And I believe those who have any type or background with spirituality, you could be a Christian, you could be a Muslim, you could just be someone who believes in spirituality from the universal standpoint. This is going to be a good conversation because some of you are stuck with being able to lose weight or improve your health, maybe because you haven't tapped into your spirituality. And some of you, maybe your spirituality is blocking you from improving your health. I don't know. But we're going to have a conversation. I want you to be a fly on the wall. And I would love for you to be in tune with the conversation. And if you're catching us live, post your questions. This is going to be good. So without further delay, let me bring on this amazing lady, Miss Sharon Gist. How you doing, Sharon?
I'm doing great. Thank you for doing this. And I realize, like when you said I'm an expert in spirituality, I'm an expert in living. I'm 78 years old, been on the planet a long time, and my entire life I has been seeking more, becoming more, but getting better. And I did spend gosh, 10 years in service to the University of Santa Monica, which gave me a spiritual foundation. It was a 2-year degree in spiritual psychology. I became a licensed professional counselor after that. And I also continued with a year in consciousness, health, and healing that deepened the work in terms of the consciousness of our bodies as well as the rest of our lives. And I was, I led the second class that they did. I was one of the assistants there. So yes, I've been immersed in this work forever. And I think that this conversation started because we were having a conversation. I was beating you up a little bit about the way you were like, because the judgments that we carry are some of our biggest obstacles to creating anything. And so whenever I hear somebody who I perceive as being judgmental, even if you're not, it's off-putting. So we had that conversation, and you've been different ever since. I love it.
Okay, so wait a minute. So we're going to get into it. So I hope you guys realize Sharon is saying that I was sharing a post or doing a live, and in that, I believe I was talking about intermittent fasting and keto and quite a few different diets.
Which I'm totally in agreement with you on.
Yeah, but Sharon said, and we'll build up to it, that I was coming across a little judgmental.
Yeah.
Would that be accurate?
Yeah.
And if I was coming across judgmental, I shared with Sharon that that's not my goal. My goal is to inform, but if I'm coming across judgmental, then that means I'm not going to be able to reach the people that I'm really hoping to reach.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, well, how do we do this? So we had a conversation. Quite a few people listened to that conversation that you and I had, and they've been waiting on us to begin this series. So I'm excited and thankful to you that you're making the time to do this.
Well, thank you. And I was like, getting ready for it, I was, all my own stuff comes up like, well, who are you to have this conversation with Robert? And Robert knows so much about nutrition and educating us to live from the inside out instead of just like take a pill for that and take a pill for this and not know what we're doing or why we're doing it. And it's crazy. And at the same time, I've had a real challenge taking off the extra 30 pounds I carry around. And it's a spiritual question because from the place of truly loving myself as a spiritual being. Let's talk about what that means. We come to the planet, a lot of people think we're human beings and we go through our life and we, go to school and we get a job and, we live our lives and then people have their midlife crises because they haven't figured out who they are. And that's becomes a spiritual question. But we don't really get to raise our own consciousness, and everything is energy. Everything. It's scientifically proven that your thoughts affect your whole health, your whole system. I don't know if you're familiar. I mean, I know you're familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza, but between the University of Santa Monica and Dr. Joe Dispenza, I know that we can heal anything. He broke his back in a triathlon. I mean, they told him they need to fuse his vertebrae or he'd never walk again. Well, he said, no, I can visualize healing that. I can see my body in a total health and I can change this. And within 6 months, he was a bit better and he vowed he'd spend the rest of his life teaching the world, figuring out what he did and teaching the world what he did.
Okay.
So that's how, and with USM, what I realized I had a long history of doing other personal development things that started early. But with USM, there was a consciousness that we are a spiritual being having a human experience. And everything in our human experience is here to help us elevate, help us go to our next level. And each person has their own spiritual curriculum. That's, so my like judgment is an issue for me. I, always picking myself apart and making myself wrong and well, it's very hard when you're not loving yourself to take care of yourself because why bother, And I've really had to work for the last, you know, 78 years on learning how to love myself. I think I'm closer now than I've ever been. But if I rely on you to love me, I'm in deep doo-doo, I mean, because you'll fall short where my consciousness doesn't allow it in. And that
Okay.
happens with weight. What happens, like your program, it's like, well, it works for everybody else, but not for me. Why?
All right. Well, there's a lot to. So let's set some ground rules because that was. Thank you for the intro, but let's help everyone. Let's all go about this because it's going to get a little deep,
Yeah.
and let's establish some. I think there's three things we need to establish.
Okay.
One, it'd be good for people to hear, and I would love to hear people. They could type in what comes to mind or what they believe spirituality is. So if you don't mind me, let's just start there.
Okay.
How would you define or how do you define spirituality?
Because I see myself as a spiritual being having a human experience, it means to me that as I raise my conscious awareness, if I raise my awareness of spirit's unending, constant love for me, and that everything in my experience, everything that I do that comes into my world is here for my growth and advancement. That may sound very self-centered, but the reality is it's true for every one of us. If I sit in a room with 20 people and the same lesson is being given, 20 people are going to get 20 different responses to it and experiences from it. But I remember at my practicum when somebody stood up and said, everybody's having all these spiritual experiences. I want that. And Mary, the teacher, said, what would it take for you to do that? And she said, I just to really step into it, to believe it's available for me. And I felt like even with all the work I'd done, it never even occurred to me that it was available to me because I didn't have enough self-love. I felt
Right,
like,
but I just want to make sure everybody's clear.
yeah.
How do you define spirituality? Because we could get past this
It's
and
about
move.
I would say consciousness. I would
Okay,
say spiritual, and I'd also say consciousness that whether you call it God or Jesus or the universe has got your back. So you come from a place of it's like I take personal responsibility for what I've created and brought into me so that then I have an opportunity to change it. My
right,
thoughts,
but I'm just pushing, right?
okay,
Because you're talking, which is great,
I love
but
it.
what is how do you define it? Like I know I can define it in 30 seconds.
How do you
I'm
define it?
wondering,
Tell me,
I'm wondering,
tell
I
me
mean,
how you define it.
but that's my definition, which I'm
Well,
going to
tell
get
me
to.
what your definition is, because I think
Well,
it has to do with consciousness.
well, no, I believe it has to do with consciousness. I mean, consciousness. I believe it has to do with being mindful. I believe is a place of humility, and it's a place of acceptance that you are not the end all be all. That there is something way greater than you and I.
Right.
And I succumb to that and acknowledge that and give myself to that
Yes.
from a spiritual is things that I cannot define. I cannot understand it um the way a human being would understand it. I like what you said about a spiritual being. So as a human having a spiritual experience.
Mm-mm. You're a spiritual being having a human
Oh, sorry.
experience.
Thank you
Big
for
difference.
that. Yes, huge difference. But so I'm in that place. So for me, it's the unknown, but being okay with whatever that is, and then taking responsibility for what is within my control.
Yeah, and
But
okay.
acknowledging that there is a spirit that is the master controller, and I'm in agreement with what the spirit will do for me. So I'm one of those people that believes that whatever you think about, you bring about.
Yes.
And that's because that's a spiritual thing that puts everything in order to make it happen. And my connection there is my thinking. Some people would call it prayer, thought that helps facilitate what I want the spiritual world to help bring to fruition in my world.
Okay. All
So
right.
I'll stop there.
No, that's good. That's good. And I think what's important there is that distinction that knowing that there's something larger than personal out there. There's something
Mhm.
that's running this thing. And when and I don't know if you want any personal experience, but I couldn't even use the G word. I was so angry at God when I was a kid after my little sister was killed in an accident. My mother killed herself when I was 13, and I knew that there was more. I knew that I didn't have to be defined this way, and yet it was defining me. And and as and it was like, who needs a God who would let all these things happen to this kid? Kind of
Right,
was.
but wouldn't you agree that at that point you made God human?
Mm,
Yeah, because otherwise you wouldn't. You can't. You won't.
well, I didn't even know about spirit in those
No,
days.
but I'm saying you made God human, and a young 13-year-old would do that because they don't know
Yeah,
anything. You just know a name. You saw a Bible. You heard stories. You human. You made him
you,
human.
you made it okay. So, well, and what
Well,
does
the
that mean?
spiritual. Remember, our spiritual. When it comes to the spirit, we don't understand the spirit. I mean, the Bible's
Well,
clear on that,
so
but
here,
we
so here,
don't under. It's not for us to understand, right?
right?
And that's where people blow it. Is that they get so caught up in trying to understand and becoming a spirit themselves instead of just acknowledging that there are things in life
I'm trusting.
you're not going to understand. You're not going to know. You're not going to
That's right.
figure it out. It ain't going to happen.
That's right. But you can raise your consciousness. You
Mm-hmm.
can raise your awareness so that when you have an experience that you don't understand, it becomes grist for the mill for becoming more, becoming better. For example, right now, the teachers at the university, I mean, we're all getting up there in age, and they stepped down from running the university. They're in their 80s, I think now, and they're having their challenges, and what and most people it's like, oh, I'm getting dementia or something. The world's coming to an end. They're looking at it as my spirit is so untethered to the earth anymore that I'm in greater consciousness, greater awareness than ever before. But I don't feel like dealing with this dailiness details. So that instead of it being a judgment about losing some of their cognitive ability, they're using it. They've used everything in their life forever this way. And that's kind of where I'm coming from, is that my job is to just get better at allowing spirit to inform me so that I can get out of my way and have whatever the results are that I want. And I
Okay,
know.
okay. That was powerful because it sets us up to get to the nitty gritty, right? Because when you're talking about weight loss or you're talking about someone wanting to improve their health,
Yeah.
I have had many experiences where I've watched people, human beings, who are able to tap into their spiritual side.
Hmm.
And once they tapped into that, success with losing weight became so much easier.
Hmm.
Success with improving their health became so much easier.
It's
But
true.
the people who are battling, they're wanting to control it like it's a remote control.
It's true.
And some
And that's
things,
and that's part of the humanness, is to want to, that's what we
right.
try to do, is control everything.
Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of something that I witnessed, and I believe it will help everyone start to get an idea of how, if they can tap into their spiritual connection, it can make getting healthier, losing weight much easier. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm
Okay.
ready.
So I've trained quite a few world champions, world elite level athletes, Olympians, right? And this one lady I was training, arguably, I would say she's the best athlete I've ever trained. Very famous. She was a boxer, kickboxer. She was in a movie called The $1 Million Baby.
Yeah.
And she played the villain, where she was a very muscular African American woman who hurt Hilary Swank in the movie, hurt her neck. So for those who have watched the movie, and in real life, she's a sweetheart and she's legit. She's real. So one day I'm at her house, her apartment, and we're having our session together and we're talking and laughing. And her manager walks in, and she wasn't getting along with her manager. Not at all, not even a little bit. Manager was also very famous. And when he walked into the room, her entire aura shifted from joyful, happy, this is a great day, to one of just total, you could feel it, the tension.
Yeah.
And so he came in and we were sitting, and I knew they had some things going on. But then she excused herself from the room. And when she excused herself from the room, she went to the bathroom or something. 20 minutes later, she comes out and she's a completely different person. She's happy, she's joyful. The energy that I was experiencing was back.
Yeah.
Okay. When this gentleman left, I said, "Hey, what happened?" And this is what she told me. She went into the bathroom and prayed.
Hmm.
And then she was able to bring it back and get in control of where she was, who she was, and be centered instead of allowing the energy from that person to conflict with the person she wants to be. She went to her creator created that connection, and then she was able to be creative and not frustrated.
Yes. Yes. That
That was a game changer for me. When I saw that with my own eyes, because you hear a lot of people talk a big talk. And as
Yep.
soon as things get messy or as soon as things hit the fan, they freak out and try to control all of it. And it's nothing but just a bunch of mess.
I so relate to the story that you're telling, Robert, because I mean, countless times I have not succeeded at it, but countless times I have succeeded at it. And I remember one time my stepmother, who was a very difficult woman, would, she'd just trigger us all the time. And she was visiting. I lost you, Robert. Are you there? Did I lose you?
Oh
Anyway.
no, you didn't lose me. I'm here. I just
Okay.
gave you the full screen.
Oh. Well, anyway, she was visiting, and I would go to the bathroom every few minutes and do what I considered self-forgiveness. This was a long time ago, but I would forgive myself for the judgments that I was holding against myself that came out of something that she had said. And I would just do this over and over again to get myself back in my center. At one point, she said, "What, do you have diarrhea or something?" Because I kept going to the bathroom. But by the end of a day of this, the energy shifted so that she could actually hear me. And there was not this disparate thing. I could say, I could just kindly say, "Are you aware, Eleanor, when you judge a 50-year-old that she's pronouncing a word wrong, that it says more about you than it does about her?" But just shift that energy so that I was back into myself. And I'm the only one who actually was able to heal that relationship with her so that she didn't die alone. We ended up having a relationship. But what you're talking about is so important, that if we can identify, prayer is the fastest way through. But a lot of people don't have access to prayer. I did not have access to prayer per se until like 2017. And when I found,
Okay, what do you
you know,
mean by when you say access to prayer? Because
that it that it
anyone who's listening to us is like, I can go in my bedroom, close the door, get on my knees, and I have access.
yeah, but if somebody doesn't know that, that makes a difference to them. That, for example, I've been doing all this spiritual work, but I've been efforting at it. I've been meditating for over 50 years, and I can center myself in my meditation, but I didn't get that I was connected literally to God by prayer, that I could literally, because I didn't know that how powerful that connection was in that sense. It's like it's one thing to go meditate and go out into la la land and be all wonderful, but then you come back into the world, and if you lose it in 30 seconds. But if you know that you have access to a higher source of information, of power, of creativity, of thought, that you can change a thought in a heartbeat, that you can open your own heart, and you can have a heart coherence between you, then the world becomes magical. But while you're efforting at it and trying so hard, and you're not able to relax into loving God, loving yourself, knowing that you are loved, that you matter, that you exist here for growth and learning and creativity, and to expand and to contribute to the world. If you're efforting at it all the time, you're missing the point. And I've frankly spent most of my life missing the point. you know and it's
Okay,
like,
so are you saying that you get it now?
more than ever before,
Okay.
I'm sure I lose it.
So when you have a week when you
Hmm.
feel like you've eaten right, you've been
Hmm.
active, you've done everything right, but your weight stays the same or maybe goes up, how
Hmm.
are you using your spirituality to help you be okay with when the numbers aren't ideal?
um I'm no, this is really good because this happens all the time. You know that
No,
with
I
me,
mean,
right?
I'm just curious because there's people sitting there at the edge of their seat going, "Yeah, because that's where I'm at today. My number, I
Well,
think I did everything great. Okay, help me now. Tell me how I use
let me
spirituality
tell you
to
what
pull me
happens
through
when I
this."
don't tap in. I could do everything perfectly for weeks on end. And if I am not connected into the reality that I know everything is for me, what will happen is I was like, oh well, what the hell? I'm just gonna go, eat that cake and eat that. And the other day, I was like, I don't know, a couple last week, I think we were talking, and I said, just as an experiment, what if you do Robert's program right? And you stop it, and cupcakes were thrown at me, cookies were thrown, all this stuff was thrown at me. I said, you don't do that. And it was because I was tapped in spiritually that it was not an effort to say no.
Okay, hey, so can we
It's
pause there for a
really the
second?
efforting.
I want to pause for a second
Okay.
because you're making me think of something. If someone was smoking cigarettes, like, do you smoke cigarettes?
No,
Why not?
never.
I mean, you say that with conviction. Why you don't smoke cigarettes?
Uh my mother smoked 10 packs a day. My father smoked 10 packs a day. It was hideous. It was ugly. And Vicky and I made a
Okay,
bet one
now
time
wait a minute, wait
and
a minute.
said, no, we're not going to
Wait,
smoke. And
wait,
I never
hold
did.
up, hold up,
I never did.
hold up. I hear a lot of judgment coming from you.
Yeah.
No, so I mean,
I
because that's where you felt judgment from me. I'm hearing judgment.
right.
So help me understand what makes smoking cigarettes bad. What makes
Well,
it wrong?
it's not right or wrong. It's just that
Well, the
it's
judgment makes it
disrupting.
right or
It's
wrong.
the smoke in around you. It fogs you. It blocks you when it's unhealthy for you. But before we even knew it was unhealthy for you, I didn't like smoke because I didn't like smelling it. I didn't like it permeated everything.
Okay, yeah, but
So
that's I mean, some people don't like curry chicken, but if I like cooking curry chicken, don't hate on me because I like the smell of it and the garlic.
no, but I'm probably not coming to dinner that day.
Yeah, okay, but if you're a kid, you I mean that's part of the deal. You're not paying the rent or the mortgage.
I
But I'm
hear
hearing
what you're
judgment.
saying about me and my parents smoking all the time. I got it.
Okay, but I'm all right. So when I hear judgment, right? So follow me
Yeah,
on this.
yeah.
I know that less than 10% of people who smoke cigarettes, less than 10% of them will experience lung cancer in their life. So the likelihood of someone getting lung cancer is really reduced. And there's a
Yeah.
whole bunch of other problems that can come about. So I have a little bit of facts and knowledge on the smoking part. Maybe some people don't like the way it smells in their clothes. Okay, I get that. I mean, I don't smoke, but I mean, I get it. But when I watch someone eat a cake, like a slice of cake, because I'm so knowledgeable of the oils in that cake and how they cause inflammation, the sugar in that cake, how it causes inflammation, the combination of the oils, the seed oils in that cake, and the sugar causes fatty liver and moves a person closer to death compared to if they didn't eat it. Knowing all of that about the cake, I'm always curious when people will throw their nose up against someone who's smoking a cigarette, but don't do the same thing when someone's eating cake.
This
They're
that's a very excellent example that you're giving right now. That's an excellent because it goes back to your ability to convey the knowledge that you have, but from somebody who eats cake, doesn't smoke cigarettes. What I would say is there's this ability. I don't know. I'm making excuses, but what I'm really saying is that
you're reaching right now. You're
yeah,
reaching.
it's hard in that moment to think one piece of cake is going to have just like one cigarette, like,
Yeah.
yeah, only 10% are going to die of lung cancer. Eating that one piece of cake is probably not going to push me into diabetes. It might keep me from losing weight, but it's probably not going to create all of that
Right.
unless
Same as
I
one
ate it
cigarette.
all day, every day.
Same as one cigarette is not going to give you lung cancer.
That's
It's,
right.
it's
One
just
cigarette.
not.
And
But
the
yet, but
problem is
the
that
perception,
smokers have it everywhere.
but the perception is that if you smoke, because the culture has moved to this place where we have all demonized smoking, right? And you have a lot of people rally to that, and it makes it where, yeah, that's bad. Right.
Well, first of all, from a spiritual perspective, there is no good or bad. Seriously.
I agree.
From a spiritual
All
perspective,
things are good. I mean, God said all things are good.
All things are good.
All
And
things.
it's really how you relate to the issue is the issue. One of the differences, though, when you're a smoker, chances are you don't smoke one cigarette a day. Chances are you smoke 5 to 20 cigarettes.
And chances are you may only have one slice of cake today, but then you're going to eat some other shit later. And then tomorrow you're going to eat something else. And then the next day is going to be something else. But it all is based on what you're aware of. That is all blocking you from living your best and healthiest life.
Mm-hmm.
Same as a cigarette.
When you do that, when you go for the cake and the stuff, and part of it is again, it's like right now, culturally, cigarettes are. I agree, Cindy. Prayer is so important, and I just want prayer to be available for everyone, because I didn't have that. I didn't feel like I could talk to God the way I can when I had not claimed it. You have to claim it. You have to know it's available. And what you do is you educate people so that is available if we pay attention to it. And because God is, it's like spirituality is something that people don't talk about regularly the way they talk about their diet, and they don't have, and it's like, I love hanging out with people, like-minded people, but there's a difference between spirituality and religiosity. And when somebody, throws their religiosity onto me, I withdraw and go over and go talk to God, because that's not what I'm here for.
Okay. Well, all right. So let me shift it a little bit. Is that okay?
Please.
All right. So remember, I said earlier that from a spiritual standpoint, I believe largely that what you think about, you can bring about. Right?
Absolutely. Yes.
So I'm a single guy. I'm prefacing by saying that. And there's a lady who I'm very fond of. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
And I know the power of spirituality is that if I think about her, I will bring about her.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that's true?
It's if you think about her, no, it's a combination. It's like if you think about her, you'll bring, but at the same time, there are a lot of other factors. So you want to bring about what you want in that relationship. You need to show up yourself. This isn't just about think about her.
I'm showing up and showing out.
But if she's not coming to you, then there's other. See, we're not in control of anybody but ourselves.
Oh no, I'm just saying that. Okay, I'm just saying that if you want something to come into your life,
yeah,
think about it. Right. So if you think about being healthier,
yeah,
it will come to your life. If you think about losing weight, now there's actions, because the Bible
exactly. You have to take the actions.
Oh no, the Bible's very clear. Deeds without action are dead.
Yeah.
Right. It's very clear in the Bible.
Yeah.
So you got to take action. I mean, one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible. And if everyone learned this, whatever they want to achieve, they can achieve. And I I can say that because I've done it. I wanted an infomercial and I got it. I wanted to be a best-selling author. I got it. I wanted to be on TV. I got it. Everything that I've thought about and what I continue to think about comes about.
Right.
I know the power in it, right? I
Yes.
have things like I just had a meeting this week. I've been thinking about it for about a year. It came to fruition, and then it got bigger and better because I took action, and I'm in a position to follow up and do what is necessary for it to actually become a reality, right?
Well, what you also did was you knew that if you kept on thinking about it and you kept on envisioning it and tweaking the thought to get it into the right alignment. So it might have taken a year, but
Mm-hmm.
you didn't push it a year ago. You let it evolve because you had the trust and the confidence that when you have the vision and the belief and the trust and you take the action, then it's a whole different thing. And by the
Yeah.
way, I wrap that in love and gratitude. You live in a state of love and gratitude all the time. And the more conscious you are of that, the more it serves you. But you do that naturally. You're serving people, you're serving the planet. And your vision isn't just about you and it isn't just about putting money in your pocket. It's about getting the message out to more people in a more effective way. And so
Yes. So let's bring it back because you just said everything that I would want everyone to get from this. In the very beginning of this conversation, you and I we talked about how this came about. And I was talking to you, and you said I would be more effective at reaching more people if I wasn't coming across judgmental, right?
yes,
So I'm open to that because I really do want to be more effective at reaching more people. So when you made a comment to me that most people wouldn't want to hear, I wanted to hear it because that means I could shift things and become more effective. So I've been thinking about being more effective and reaching more people. And then out of nowhere, you made a comment about me coming across judgmental. And then I was open to hearing it. We had a great conversation about it. I feel like I grew from that. And I thank you for that. And that put me in a position to now I can reach more people.
exactly. And
Right.
that
So
thing to reach more people wouldn't come about when you were in your way. And you, because you were your higher calling was to reach more people, you got out of your way to do that. Whereas you could be doing everything right like this and, and just hit wall after wall after wall.
okay. So that's the question for everybody who wants to lose weight, for everybody who wants to get healthier. We have to ask yourselves, do you really want it? Because if you do, open up your frequencies
Yes.
and be ready because people are going to say things are going to show up in your life that are going to show up because it's going to help you show out.
Yes.
Right. So if I have someone who's listening right now and they're trying to lose weight, they really want to stay the course. They do pretty good as far as what they believe in for a few days, and then they blow it. They eat something that they know is not helping them. They caved. And then they're like, okay, let me get back to it. And then they stay in that yo-yo. How do they use their spirituality to help them get past that so they can stay focused, stay consistent, and win?
You know, what just came up when you said that was it's like one day at a time. One of the things that I've noticed in my
One day at a
conversations,
time. Okay, so are you applying that, Sharon, to yourself?
I I am actually, I am.
Okay.
And and what I've noticed in this conversation, I have an ongoing dialogue with Jesus that I do every day.
With
And
Jesus, Jesus.
yes, because
Yeah.
he's my ultimate source. And that shifted for me all like for bazillion for many years. I was beginning to, especially after USM, okay? I knew I was a spiritual being, but I didn't know Jesus. And I can't stand, I get really agitated when people impose their version of religion or what Jesus is here, what the message is, and in a way that separates and doesn't connect. So I don't talk about Jesus most of the time.
So why
But
not? Isn't that part of the problem, Sharon? Is that everyone's so, not everyone, but many people are so frightened to share out loud
I'm not
their,
frightened of it. I just don't want to get into a lockjam thing.
yeah,
It's like
but what,
one day we got to
that's the,
talk about Trump, for
okay,
example.
what?
People go one day, and not here, we're going to talk about Trump because I
Oh,
know, it's the same thing with
so what,
Jesus.
are you a Trump
Well,
hater?
we're not going to go there today. We're not going to go there today.
No, I mean, all right, just give a soundbite. Maybe
But
we'll
you
cover
know
that.
what? You know what, Robert?
But that's a
You're
good
the
example. So
only
you're a
person.
Trump hater.
You're the only person that I know who's a Trump lover that
Wait
I'd be
a
willing to have a conversation with about it.
Wait a
Because I
minute. Wait a minute. Wait. So how did I become a Trump lover?
because you once told me you wanted Trump as president.
I have never said
I
that
thought you said
I have never said I am a Republican.
no, but you did say you endorsed Trump as a president.
Yeah, between him and Biden, 1000%.
Okay.
Yeah, 1000%. Yes.
So
You know why? Because what Trump says and what I saw him do for 4 years is in full alignment with my moral beliefs and my Christian beliefs, which are in alignment with my moral beliefs. I am not a fan of pushing abortions. I am not a fan of pushing and changing Title IX so that my daughters have to compete against biological boys. And Biden made that a federal law that makes it where any boy can wake up tomorrow and compete with my daughters as a
okay,
girl. And
Robert,
I'm
we're
not good with I'm not okay with that.
okay, but this is
Right?
a whole other
Yeah,
conversation.
but I'm just saying,
And
like, so the same as how I look at nutrition, I'm aware of things around nutrition. And so people, when I meet them, they're not knowledgeable, they're not aware, which is
right,
fine. But once I make them aware and I substantiate it so they can see it's not just my opinion, that that there's a whole bunch that supports and backs it up, then it's up to them to be able to, with clarity, see it for the truth that it is. And if they choose to not tap into their spiritual world, but stay in their secular world, then those people sometimes, because of ego or what they want it to be, will not be able to see the truth of what I'm sharing with them. So they do become partisan, not just politically, but they become partisan in or confirmation bias, where they just come in with a certain belief. Soy is bad. I'm not eating it, because somewhere in their life, someone got them to believe that soy was bad. And that's just one example of what people tend to do. They will block them from being able to see the truth for the truth.
do you not think that soy is bad?
No.
I love it.
My kids drank soy milk aside from breast milk day one. They grew up eating. My 14-year-old is still a vegetarian. We ate soy. I eat soy. I've been a pro athlete consuming soy. I don't have a problem with soy. The same as I don't have a problem with a lot of things. Now, I do have a problem with some of the things they add to the production of soy or the production of corn or the production of broccoli, like glyphosate, right? Roundup. I have a problem with those types of things, but it's not the soy that's the problem. So I'm fully aware of it. And I know that the media and there's propaganda from other companies that will create a cloud around certain things. So people get confused. And if people aren't informed, then they just go with what the majority is saying is real. Right. So you and I are having this conversation, and if we were having this conversation in 1980, when 13% of the population was obese, now here we are in 2024, 43+% of the population is obese. Way more people have colon cancer, various cancers. Millions of people are diabetic, pre-diabetic, way more than 1980. So every year it gets worse, right? So in the United States, I know that 43% of Caucasian women that look like you are obese. I also know that close to 70% of African-American Black women are obese. I have a problem with that. And right under that, you have Hispanic women. So that means that in the next 10 years, we'll be at 80% of Black women being obese, which means way more premature deaths. The healthcare industry will make more money. I mean, it's there.
Okay, so wait a minute. We're taking it back to a spiritual perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's very challenging not to take a position about something, and the minute there's positionality, there's divisiveness, and the minute there's divisiveness, we're stepping away from the deeper reality that it's all good, that we all have choices, that we're all creating. And what you offer is the education so people can make informed decisions. But just because you could eat soy and it was fine for you, just like I can drink milk and it's fine for me, a lot of people can't, and that's part of what we've done culturally. But the reality is there are scientific studies that say intermittent fasting is good, and we know how bad that is. Okay, the minute you get into arguments of back and forth, this is
No,
good, this is bad,
that's not
and
completely true, Sharon. That's not
the
true.
scientific studies, people don't go to the source like you do.
Yeah,
They go
yeah,
to, oh, here, I've got this scientific study,
yeah, but
right?
that's not totally true. Not totally true.
Well,
Because if you're lactose intolerant, you may not be soy intolerant.
right. That's
There's
fine.
propaganda against soy,
I'm
right?
just saying,
The dairy industry created articles and reports and did studies to make people not want to drink soy milk,
mhm.
right? So it wasn't based on any facts. It was just based on it's all propaganda.
Well, and that's part of the challenge, particularly with the food industry.
Right. So
This
in the spiritual
propaganda.
warfare, right? In the spiritual warfare, everyone deserves to be living at their healthiest life, their healthiest weight. What would you say in our we have about 11 minutes left. And I'm going to go ahead and throw in my opinion on this because I want your feedback. I believe that the people who are the bigger influencers, the movie producers, directors, the people who write the books, the influencers in social media, I believe that most of them are lying about the facts.
You mean you think they know the facts and they lie about them anyway?
I don't know if they know, but they are aware and they won't look at it because it clouds what they've been preaching. So for instance, if I preach keto as a solution for diabetes, and I find out this guy named Robert Ferguson has a program that reverses 93% of anyone who's a type 2 diabetic without giving up foods they like.
Well, wait, they have to give up cake and cookies.
No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't. So my point being, if someone finds out about what I'm able to do with our methodology, but they've been pushing keto, they're never going to let the world know about what I do because they're compromised financially.
Okay, so wait a second, because I fundamentally kind of agree with you, and I also feel like you know from your experience that your program works.
Yeah.
But there are also people who think they follow your program and it doesn't quite work for them. There
That's
are
not true.
people who do keto and it works for them. They don't know the underlying health risks that they're taking on at the same time. Just like, people like obesity is dangerous. It's like right now my sister um, has been talked into taking blood pressure medication because the risk of a stroke is worse than the side effects for her at 82 years old. I don't have the answers. God has the answers. All I know is that we work to, if we have the spiritual clarity of where we're headed and we tune out the noise and we just focus on what, frankly, I mean, your program is more common sense than anything. Frank, your program.
Why? You sound like Trump right now.
What? Why? Well, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. What I am saying,
no. I'm just saying the other day he was saying we got to get back to common sense. So I know you don't want to hear that, but hey.
No, I'm willing to have another conversation with that. But a lot of things that you saying are facts. For one thing, I'm not informed enough about it. I have so much, it's like I gave up on politics when Nixon got elected the second time and didn't turn out to be the worst thing in the world. There's everything. If you take it out to its next step, there's going to be another point of view. You're going to keep doing that. So what you want to do is what I want to do is get to a place where I am listening to God and listening to, I know that for me, I may want $1 million. I'm not going to get there just saying all day long.
So is listening to God going to help you lose the weight?
Yes.
Really?
Without listening to God.
So you're going to put it on God if you're going to put it on God if you're not successful.
No, I'm going to put it on that I'm not listening. I'm not putting it on God. I'm saying if I really listen, I'd be in a different place.
Okay, so let me ask you. All right, so here's the situation.
I mean, I'm terrified. If I follow your program to a T, and I do all the things that I'm doing, and I don't lose the weight, I'd be really, I'm mortified, and the judgment kicks in.
Okay, but wait a minute. But here's what I know to be true, Sharon. There's no way you're not going to be successful. I have never, for 29 years, consistently working with pro athletes, Olympians, world class, mom next door, kids. I have never met a person, and keep in mind, this is not bragging. I'm just keeping it real. I've sold books. I've had infomercials. I've reached thousands, if not millions of people. I have never met a person that was not able to be successful. So anyone who's not successful with my Diet Free Life methodology, it ain't my program. That's the reason why they're not successful. It's them and shit that they are going through or dealing with that's blocking their success.
Right. And there's a lot of things that impact us besides our food. That
I get it.
Level of sleep, the level of
if you're sleeping with the enemy, that means you're in a horrible marriage. You're probably not going to lose the weight. If your husband don't give a shit about eating, that's part of your problem. And you got to, you can still be successful married to a guy who don't care about his health, but it's harder.
Yeah, it's harder.
Yeah,
it's harder.
I have a lot of clients that I've helped through that. And I have many right now that are stuck, but they don't want to look at that reality. And I've had clients stop doing my program and go look for another gimmick, because the reality is they're married to the wrong person. They are. So if we want to get real,
Okay, so what's my excuse? I'm not married. I have. I'll tell you honestly though. There are stressors that I've imposed on myself that I've done. I know that. And it's part of my spiritual curriculum to be able to divest myself of those things, of those judgments, of those pockets of ignorance, pockets of holding on to misbeliefs and misinterpretations of reality. Because the only reality is that God loves us in every way. There is no experience, not Trump, nobody can impact my goodness, who I am at a core place.
okay,
And unless I let them,
right,
So if I focus on what I don't like about somebody, it's just a waste of my energy. I don't want to get into that.
okay,
What is a more valuable use of my energy is to notice, what is it about me? What is it reflecting about me that I'm so adamant about something? You know, what what if I'm perceiving something, then there's some quality that's inside me. And if I'm willing to look at those qualities and shift them, then the more of that stuff I let go of, the easier it's going to be for me to, and frankly, losing weight for me has been like the symbol that I've arrived. And I think the reason I hold on to the weight is that I don't want that responsibility.
okay,
I mean,
okay. So let me ask you this question, because we're close to. So we definitely got to do part 2. I think we should do it the same time next Saturday,
okay.
because at the end, I would like to be able to feel confident to say, all right, we established the basics of spirituality and how that could help a person improve their health or lose weight. Can you speak to just that now? How are you going to use your spirituality to help you continue to not only lose weight, but create health that you want?
Okay. So I will say that even though all the pounds have not come up, I am way healthier than I was a year ago.
Okay,
Right.
but no, please answer my question.
Okay. But
How are you going to use? I want someone like Maricela, who's sitting here. She's been with us the whole hour.
wow.
She's a spiritual person. She's on the quest. She's wanting to. She's doing things to improve her life and her health right now. In your words, Sharon, how are you going to use your spirituality to help you continue to not only lose weight, but to improve health?
I'm going to make God my partner in doing it. I'm
Woo!
going to ask for help.
Oh, that's deep. You're gonna get God involved. You ain't gonna let God down. Come on.
No, that is right. I'm going to ask for help. Obviously, in my little humanness,
Woo! Get
I'm
ready.
making bad decisions. But if I'm listening and I take and I trust,
Okay. So Sharon, is God at all places at all time? Is he everywhere?
yes,
So when you
yes,
eat the shit that may not help you, do you realize that God is right there watching you?
yes.
And you're gonna be okay with that?
Well, what's going to happen is I'm going to eat less and less of the shit, because
Okay.
guys, if I keep that upper,
All right,
it's
we
like
got 2
what you
minutes, Sharon.
focus
We got
on, you
2 minutes,
create.
Sharon. We got 2 minutes. I need you to
What
knock it
you
out the park.
focus on expands. So if I'm focusing on what I'm doing wrong, I get more of it. You left me again. When I focus on what works and keep that going, then that's all that's going to happen, is it's going to work.
Okay. Well, you guys heard it. So this was the foundation. And I believe that the foundation conversation is a little cluttered,
Yes.
because it's not easy to get to the place that we both want to get to with this. And so people who are in the conversation, I mean, we could go another hour, maybe we'll get there. And I think that there's pieces that people can pull from our conversation that can help them. But I would agree, and you tell me if you agree with me on this, that you and I understand spirituality and we both tap into it to help us in many parts of our lives. Would that be accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
And we have pockets of ignorance, both of us.
So look, no, so I was looking around, playing around, but I would agree with you because if I could talk to myself 5 years ago, I could really educate myself in a big way. If I could talk to me 20 years ago, I would be able to give a whole bunch to that person, which means that there's someone 5 years from now, if I'm lucky to be alive and be living and things go the way I would like, I'm looking forward to meeting that guy because I know that I've been on this scale of progressing and my understanding in a lot of things, around my business, spirituality, nutrition, I mean, you name it. And I believe you would probably say that you would say the same thing about yourself, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
look at the person you are now compared to the person I met 22, 23 years ago.
Right.
I mean, I would say as a compliment to you that the person I am getting here is the person that I remember 23 years ago. You've all
It
been
is,
you've always been very witty, smart, intelligent, ahead of the game. Yeah, 100%.
but hopefully I've learned something in those 23 years.
Well, you know that you've learned things, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying that you could see it there. Like I actually think about this woman when I was 19. I was in the Marine Corps and I was the youngest one at this event. And I remember I was sitting there talking to her at this dinner we had. And she goes, "Robert, you have really good foresight." And I was like, "Well, what's that mean?" And she was like, "You're able to see things ahead. And I'll never forget her telling me that. I mean, I was 18 years old or 19 years old. And she was right. I mean, I don't know where that woman is today. I don't know if she's alive, but you
And
know,
that's one of your gifts that you came in with, a spiritual gift that you were given,
yes.
and you utilized it. And that ability to foresee allows you literally to envision, to see beyond. And that's why you've been able to create everything that you had a real clear vision of.
All right.
I want
Well,
to do this. I'm going to do it. So
all
I'm
right. So
working.
are you willing to do part 2 next week?
I am willing to, and I have to laugh because it's definitely helping me stay on track with my diet-free life.
Okay,
Can't show
no.
up here like a jerk.
Well, you bring a wealth of understanding and knowledge, and I'm excited to share more of you with the people that I know because I do value you as a human being and a spiritual being, and you have so much knowledge because I respect Santa Monica University, and I mean I would no way be the coach that I am and the human being that I am and living the life that I'm living if I did not go to the university that you went to. I mean, that was a game changer for me. And I
Yeah,
didn't graduate it the way I mean, I'm conventional with psychology.
yeah,
But what I learned from your school and those workshops, and I went to quite a few of them. I mean, every time, man, I would just be driving home just on top of the world.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. And I met a woman last week who had done a little bit of same like you did with USM, but and she has coached multiple millionaires and famous people like you have. And I said, so why aren't you a millionaire? She said, because I never wanted it. And it's like you can coach somebody because you said that to me. I say, well, I haven't really lost this weight yet. Why, how can I talk about it? You said, but you understand it. And you can help that you can take someone to the next level. But the more we can walk our own talk, the more we can be in alignment and be congruent, the more influence and and ability we'll have to help other people. And
Amen.
that's what we're doing. So thank you, Robert. Thank you
No,
for playing with me. I
well, thank
appreciate
you.
this.
No, that was fun. So yeah, let's we will definitely pick up next week.
Yeah. Okay.
And and thanks everybody who was able to listen in. We appreciate you. We will continue this conversation. I do believe that spirituality is one of those things that would benefit more people if it was woven into various conversations, whether it's becoming an entrepreneur, whether it's losing weight, whether it's reversing diabetes. I believe it's a power that we just aren't tapping into it enough.
It's a power that gives us the capacity to love ourselves enough to create what we want. If we
Amen.
don't love, so that's what we're doing.
All right.
All
You
right.
guys you heard it here. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Until the next one, right?
Yep.
All right. Talk to you later.
Okay.